Hello and welcome to The Perspective on NTV World. I am Sabika Shrestha, your host for the weekly current affairs program. Here we pick the major news of the week, unpack its significance and examine how today's decisions shape tomorrow's directions. This week's key issues include the enforcement of the Election Code of Conduct as Nepal prepares for the House of Representatives elections, with the Election Commission of Nepal operating a high-tech monitoring war room and identifying nearly 500 violations nationwide, the highest reported in Janakpur Dham. Voting in hilly regions amid geographical fragility remains a challenge as authorities in Manang are clearing snow to ensure access to polling centers. The Election Commission of Nepal is also turning to social media influencers to boost voter turnout, recognizing that digital and social media platforms have become an integral part of country's political conversations. Additionally, the Commission has mandated candidates to open dedicated bank accounts for campaign financing alongside reflection on Democracy Day, that is Fagun 7 of Nepali date, and Nepal's democratic progress. As nations worldwide grapple with the digital distortion of democracy, Nepal's Election Commission is striking back ahead of the House of Representatives elections. With a high-tech war room manned by military, police and cyber experts, the Commission has identified nearly 500 cases of Election Code of Conduct violation in record time. From blocking illegal exit polls to scrubbing toxic information from the web, here is how the front line of fair elections is being defended. Subeksha Razak brings more.
To ensure a level playing field, the Election Commission has set up a high-level monitoring unit to ensure that misinformation and disinformation aimed at influencing the March 5 House of Representatives elections. The Commission reveals that 467 reports of toxic information have been flagged since day one. 107 social media posts were removed, 32 news portal violations cleared, and 11 illegal sites were blocked.
हामी जिल्ला तहमा पनि निर्वाचन आचार संहिता अनुगमन अधिकृतहरू हुनुहुन्छ, दुईजना नेपाल सरकारका पदाधिकारीहरूलाई आयोगले तोकेको छ। उहाँहरूले पनि विभिन्न आचार संहिता विपरीत भएका घटनाहरूलाई चाहिँ तत्कालै नियन्त्रणमा लिएर त्यसलाई हटाउने, जस्तो भित्ते लेखन भएको छ, तुल ब्यानरहरू जताततै राखिएका छन् तिनीहरूलाई हटाउने, भित्ते लेखनहरूलाई मेट्ने, यस्तो कामहरू उहाँहरूले गरिरहनु भएको छ। एजुकेसनको रूपमा जसरी देशको संविधान, देशको कानुन हरेक नागरिकले जान्नुपर्छ भने जस्तै निर्वाचन आचार संहिता पनि स्टेक होल्डरले थाहा पाउनुपर्छ। आचार संहितामा के व्यवस्था छ त्यो कुरो जानकारी दिनका लागि हामीले यसलाई भोटर एजुकेसनको एउटा पाटोको रूपमा अहिले जसरी हामी भलन्टियरहरू वडा तहमा परिचालन गरिरहेका छौँ, उहाँहरूलाई पनि निर्वाचन आचार संहिताको विषयमा आम नागरिकलाई, मतदातालाई, अरू उम्मेदवारहरूलाई जानकारी गराउनु हुनका लागि हामीले अनुरोध गरेका छौँ, तालिम दिएका छौँ। उहाँहरूले पनि त्यो काम गरिरहनु भएको छ। त्यसले गर्दा धेरै मानिसहरूले आचार संहिता उल्लङ्घन गर्नु हुँदैन है भन्ने कुरो जानेर बस्नुभयो भने उल्लङ्घन हुन अलिक कम हुन्छ। त्यो कुरालाई पनि हामीले यताबाट पनि एजुकेसनबाट पनि उल्लङ्घन कम गरिरहेका छौँ र उल्लङ्घन भइसकेका घटनाहरूलाई पनि नियमित र व्यवस्थित गर्ने काम अगाडि बढिरहेका छौँ।
But the crackdown isn't just digital. Enforcement unit is equally active in the nooks and corners of the rural areas to the urban towns. Monitoring officers are currently targeting local representative campaigning outside their jurisdictions and the illegal use of children in political rallies. In the compliance checklist, provincial ministers must have EC consent to campaign. Local representatives are prohibited from campaigning within their own jurisdiction, and civil employees, teachers, and officials must remain neutral. And now the top violators are teachers and civil employees, provincial ministers, local representatives.
निर्वाचन आयोगको फेसबुक पेज, टिकटक अथवा हाम्रो वेबसाइटहरुमा चाहिँ हामीले आम नागरिकले पालना गर्ने पर्ने विषयहरु चाहिँ राखिदिएका छौं। त्यसमा नाटक छन्, गीति कथाहरु छन्, हैन, प्रचारका अन्य सामग्री पोस्टरहरु छ। एकदमै देखेर बुझिने खालको छ। एकदमै छिटो रिडिङ गर्नु पनि परेन, हैन। ती सामग्रीहरु हेरिदिनको लागि अनुरोध गर्छु।
The Commission's strategy is to fold enforcement and education. While the Cyber Bureau scrubs the web, thousands of volunteers are hitting the wards to educate voters. Now the voter think twice list. Don't share unverified info. Avoid character assassination and report toxic content. The message to citizens is clear. Think before you tag, comment, or share. In an era where a single post can derail an election, Nepal's proactive stance serves as a blueprint for digital age democracy.
As the House of Representatives election in Nepal approaches, political parties and their leaders have intensified campaigns nationwide. Amid the heightened election activities, numerous cases of code of conduct violation have been reported from across the country. The cases have gone nowhere as high as in Janakpur Dham, the capital of Madhya province. Rojina Rai with our correspondent Sanjay Saha looks into why Dhanusa is at top of the code of conduct violation list.
Election activities including door-to-door campaigns coupled by extensive social media use have intensified as Nepal's House of Representatives election approaches. Alongside incidents of violation of election code of conduct are increasing, with the Dhanusa in Madhya province reported to have the highest number of breaches. Dhanusa District Administration Office has removed more than 20,000 publicity materials that violated the election code of conduct. As parties and candidates did not pay heed to the directives of the office, it had to remove the pamphlets and other campaign materials by itself. Though Chief District Officer of Dhanusa, Prem Prasad Luitel, has warned of strict legal action against violators, the trend remains unchecked.
जनकपुर क्षेत्रमा चाहिँ धेरै मात्रामा यो आचार संहिता उल्लङ्घनको घटना भएकोले यसलाई हामीले चाहिँ नियन्त्रण गरेका हौं आचार संहिता पालना गर्नुपर्छ भनेर यसलाई हटाएका हौं.
Since all districts in Madhya share border with India, many polling stations are classified as highly sensitive. Understanding the security sensitivity of most of the polling stations in Madhya region, the candidates and parties have been advised to be more responsible in code of conduct adherence.
तब त्यो कन्ट्रोल हुन्छ अनि जनताहरु पनि आफ्नो मतको निर्भीक रूपमा अधिकार प्रयोग गरेर मत दिन पाउँछन्.
People at large are concerned that continued violations could threaten the fairness of the election ahead.
In the Himalayan district of Solukhumbu, voters are eagerly preparing to cast their ballots. Despite the geographical fragility, voter enthusiasm remains strong in these sparsely populated areas. They are calling on candidates to prioritize basic development issues including healthcare, education, tourism, agriculture and employment opportunities. Aprila Gising Lama with our district correspondent from Okaldunga, Navraz Karki, explores more.
Residents of Dorpu Bazar in Solukhumbu district, a mountainous region in northeastern Nepal that is home to Mount Everest, say basic public services rather than grand political promises should define the agenda in the upcoming elections.
निशुल्क शिक्षाको व्यवस्था र निशुल्क स्वास्थ्य चाहिँ पाए हुन्थ्यो भन्ने चाहिँ मेरो चाहना छ. भ्रष्टाचार रहित अलि सुशासन को नीति नियमहरु पालन गरेर काम गर्ने छन् त्यस्तो खालका योग्य नेतालाई चाहिँ उम्मेदवार बनाएर त्यसलाई भोटिङ गर्ने चाहिँ हाम्रो योजना हो.
In this mountainous terrain, access to healthcare remains a serious challenge. Even for common illnesses, families are often compelled to take loans to travel long distances to Kathmandu for treatment. In higher altitude and hard-to-reach settlements, emergency cases can require costly helicopter evacuations due to the lack of equipped medical facilities. Education services are limited, road connectivity is poor, and employment opportunities remain scarce in the rugged Himalayan landscapes. Across Solukhumbu, citizens are calling for reliable roads capable of withstanding mountainous conditions, stable electricity, telecommunications, and safe drinking water. Many are also seeking greater investment in tourism, agriculture, and small enterprises to generate jobs in a region where the economy heavily depends on seasonal trekking and mountaineering. Solukhumbu has a population of just over 104,000 people, with more than 85,000 registered voters expected to participate in the upcoming polls. Despite geographical challenges, local officials report strong voter enthusiasm.
हामी प्रत्येक पालिकामा सम्बद्ध सरकारवालाहरूसँग अन्तर्क्रिया पनि जस्तै हामीले महाकुलुङमा गर्यौं अन्तर्क्रिया हैन त्यसै गरी गएर सोताङमा पनि गर्यौं मापेमा गर्यौं अनि त्यसपछि गएर लिखुपिकेमा पनि हामीले अन्तर्क्रिया कार्यक्रमहरू गर्यौं अन्तर्क्रिया कार्यक्रमको क्रममा चाहिँ उहाँहरूले मतदान गर्नलाई चाहिँ एकदमै उत्साहितै रहेको पाएका छौं.
In the 2022 parliamentary election, CPN-UML candidate Manbir Rai won the district's sole federal constituency, defeating his nearest rival from the Nepali Congress. This time, 12 candidates from major political parties are competing for the seat, as voters in Nepal's Himalayan heartland look for political solutions to long-standing development gaps.
Efforts are underway to clear massive snow drifts and create a path toward polling centers in the Narfa Bhumi rural municipality of Manang after access for monitoring became nearly impossible. All three security agencies in the district are currently working to clear the accumulated snow to facilitate movement. Travel to this region had come to a complete standstill during the winter as most local residents moved out of the district. Chief District Officer Narayan Pauril stated that the snow clearing operation aims to ensure that both voters and election officials can safely reach the villages to conduct the polls despite the extreme cold and heavy snowfall. There are 5 polling centers in this area, serving a total of 488 voters. The implementation plan formulated by Nepal's Election Commission with the agreement of political parties to make the elections economical and transparent has not been effectively carried out. The Commission has mandated candidates to open a bank account to conduct election-related campaigns by February 15. However, so far only about 1/4 of the candidates have opened their bank accounts. Diksha Avasti brings us the story.
The Election Commission says it is closely monitoring compliance of its directives to the political parties and candidates to carry out campaign financial transactions through bank accounts. Since the Commission's issued directives as per the Operation and Management Procedures 2082, only out of 75 political parties and 3,406 direct candidates, only 7 political parties and 867 candidates have opened the required bank accounts. The Commission at the same time acknowledges that since this is the first time the rule has been enforced, specific punitive measures for non-compliance are still not clear.
This campaign financing or mandatory single bank account for the political parties and candidates is really a new venture for Election Commission. That's why we are requesting all the political parties and their candidates as well as the independent candidates to open separate account for the election campaigns.
Still, the Commission has the right to make law to punish the offenders. The mandatory provision for political parties and candidates to open a separate bank account for election expenses has been introduced for the first time in Nepal's electoral history. According to the Commission, the measure is intended to discourage unregulated cash spending and ensure accountability in campaign financing. Officials say banks now have branches in all 753 local levels, making compliance feasible nationwide. The Commission has also directed candidates to spend up to Rs 3.3 million, depending on geographical factors, with monitoring of the funds disbursed from the candidates' accounts to ensure financial discipline. As the election is just 13 days away and campaigns are at its peak, the Commission expects more parties and candidates will come under the financial ambit.
The 3-day-long Democracy Day celebrations kicked off in Nepal, commemorating Phagun 7, 2007 Bikram era, which as per Gregorian calendar fell on February 19, 1951. Despite numerous other moments when the struggle for democracy succeeded in the country, namely the 1990 Popular Movement and the 2006 Popular Movement too, Fagun 7 still stands out. Though attempts were made to change the date, the people and the country still commemorate the first seed of democracy sown in Nepal on February 19, 1951. On the eve of Democracy Day, we explored why Fagun 7 is the ultimate democracy day in Nepal. Amid numerous democratic movements and uprisings in Nepal's modern history, Fagun 7, 2007 Bikram era remains central to the foundation of democracy. The date February 19, 2051 marks the country abolished 104-year-long Rana oligarchy. That was the beginning of democracy in Nepal, though the struggles that followed mark another chapter. Led by the then monarch Tribhuvan Birbikram Shah himself, the nearly 4-year-long struggle waged from outside the country culminated in the abolition of Rana regime. The seed of democracy was sown in Nepal on that very day, which even today, despite numerous other democratic movements down the timeline, remains relevant. The sapling of democracy was crushed 9 years later in 1960, and the period from 1961 till 1990 marked the party-less Panchayat regime. In 1990, People's Movement organized by Nepali Congress and Nepal Communist Party successfully restored democracy, with then King Birendra conceding absolute monarchy to more of a ceremonial role. In April 2006, the second popular movement was waged with the involvement of the warring Maoist rebels against King Gyanendra's direct rule, once again restoring democracy in the country. In between these major moments and historic episodes, even today, Fagun 7, 2007 Bikram era stands out as the Democracy Day in Nepal, mainly because it was first ever such movement that sowed the seed of democracy. Political scientist Vesraj Ghimire describes Fagun 7 as the watershed moment in Nepali history, stamping its relevance forever.
It was the great day in Nepali history when the Nepali people fight against the Rana oligarchy. Rana oligarchy means Rana autocracy. This system suppressed to Nepali people. Now we got democracy. Nepali people fight against the Rana oligarchy, and finally Nepal became a journey of entered the journey of political democracy, democratic system. So it was a victory for Nepali people. It was a land escape for Nepali democracy.
The significance of Fagun 7 can also be traced in the Martyrs' Day celebrations. Despite the country having more than 11,000 martyrs, the day is primarily dedicated to 4 martyrs who sacrificed their life in the struggle against the Rana regime in 1951. Amid ongoing political instability, governance challenges, and public demands for accountability, Democracy Day reminds leaders and citizens alike that democracy was hard-earned through struggle, and its preservation requires continued commitment, participation, and responsibility. With just less than 2 weeks before Nepal's House of Representatives elections, the Election Commission of Nepal is turning to social media influencers to boost voter turnout. This recognition of influence by Nepal's electoral body shows that digital social media are now actually a part of the country's political conversations. The move comes amid the new scenario of Nepal that is undergoing change following activism in digital platforms that shape people's engagement and influence, leading to a new electoral course in the country. Bijata Bhandari reports more.
With just over 2 weeks remaining before Nepal votes in the House of Representatives elections, the Election Commission Nepal has stepped up efforts to engage voters, this time by turning towards social media creators. On Tuesday, the Commission convened a special interaction program for digital influencers and online content creators, looking to expand voter awareness and participation ahead of polling day on March 5. In the 2022 House of Representatives election, voters voter turnout was around 61%, leaving nearly 40% of eligible voters absent from the ballot. Nepal now counts more than 14 million social media identities across platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, a significant number in a country of roughly 30 million people. For many Nepalis, especially younger audiences, social media has become a primary space for news consumption and civic discussion. The rise of post-Gen Z political movements in recent times has also highlighted the country's growing digital presence. Online platforms have not only shaped public debate, but even been used for choosing leadership candidates after the September 8 and 9 Gen Z protests, showing how influential digital spaces have become in Nepal's democratic process. Officials also highlighted that digital platforms can help bridge information gaps for people with low literacy levels by making the content visually accessible and easier to understand.
The objective of Election Commission is to reach the maximum voters, maximum population. Those content creators and social media, if they create positive materials, then they can convince common people positively for the election. That's why our common objective is to make this general election successful. That's why we are organizing this orientation program for those social media creators and influencers for the conducive environment for the upcoming general election.
Social media creators can play a constructive role by sharing verified details about voter registration, polling procedures, and citizens' rights, while helping counter misinformation during the campaign period. Influencers attending the program acknowledged their growing responsibility in shaping the public opinion.
अलि लङ टर्म जान्छु, म सोसियली एक्टिभ मान्छे हो र म सिङ्गो समाज जोड्न चाहन्छु र मेरो प्रस्तुति, मेरो कन्टेन्ट चाहिँ समाजको हितमा छ भन्नेहरूले चाहिँ कम्तीमा पनि त्यो कन्टेन्ट चुनावपछि 21 गते हेर्दा पनि आफूलाई ग्लानि नहोस्, यो खालको कन्टेन्ट निर्माण गर्नुपर्छ। किनभने अहिले राजनीति पनि तरल छ, समाज विभाजित भएको छ। यस्तो बेलामा कन्टेन्ट क्रिएटरले जोड्ने हो। हामी यो बेला सुपर ग्लु हो, समाजलाई बाँड्ने खालका भन्दा पनि यो विभाजित समाजलाई एक बनाउने खालको कन्टेन्ट हुनुपर्छ जस्तो लाग्छ मलाई।
The focus needs to be aimed at strengthening democratic participation and not on promoting any political force. As Nepal heads to the polls, the expanding reach of social media and the creators who drive conversations online could play a pivotal role in informing voters and encouraging broader participation at the ballot box.
That's the perspective for this week. We will be back next week with major highlights of the week. Thank you for watching NTV World.